welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my own personal nightmare. Well, not really. That just sounds nice. A little something to scare the kids before putting them to bed and to make your grandmother look cross-eyed. On tonight's episode, we long to explore the insanity that is entertainment. That is, most of what we show you is insanity, and for the most part, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But before we commence this evening's events, I'd just like to say from the bottom, the absolute bottom of my heart, that I in no way touched that woman inappropriately, despite what members of the press have printed. What's that? Oh. Don't say anything about the arrest in Kansas City. Oh, okay. Let's get on with the show. You made the payment.
And now it's time for the Vegas Strip with Joey Vegas. A breakdown of the profound events in these times as only Joey Vegas can. Hey, Joey, what's up with nuclear proliferation?
Oh, well, if you look it up in the dictionary, you might be able to do it. Maybe if you get the cool glasses that have a search engine built into it, you look it up and you say it's proliferation. And you have to think about the word. What is the word? Is a bit of a medical term, is to prophylactic. It comes from the word prophylactic, where you are historically looking back and there's been weapons that has been mistaken for medical, for a maybe sometimes people, they have to, or they want to sleep at different places, and the man pushed the button, and because it was a man, it was error. And they made an error, and instead of sending the medicine, they send bombs. And so it's just a mistake they keep making. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they continue to make the mistake like that.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the news. This just in. It has been confirmed that Goober and Gomer Pyle from The Andy Griffith Show were actually related, to dispel rumors of the contrary. It has been reported that via a DNA test, one was adopted, but now it is confirmed that they were first cousins. Hence the equal level of stupidity and lack of eloquence in speech. Number two.
Thanks. Number one, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Many people have been affected by the local bird mating calls this time of year, as was the case with Fred Aubacher of Beaver Falls last night. As reported by our own number three at the location of the incident, it caused quite a disturbance.
Well, it started at about 2 a.m. and 2 in the morning, that is, when Mr. Ansbacher of right here in Beaver Falls woke up and heard the most unusual sound. Mr. Ansbacher, please tell us exactly what you experienced.
Well, like I was saying a minute ago, I woke up to this strange noise, sounding like birds mating. You know, the old northern blackbird, by the sound of it, they make a pretty unusual noise, kind of like dingo eating Vegemite listening to Midnight Oil.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I guess on the one hand, it kind of is. But on the other hand, it's pretty amazing. It's like a fat ink and Bruce from Wallabaloo. Know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's very fascinating, Mr. Ansbacher. And now back to you in the studio, number one and number two.
Thank you, number three. This just in. There's a fire at a local cannabis dispensary just outside of Crabwell Corners. Our own number four reports from the scene. But before we cut to the action, we must warn viewers of the graphic nature of the footage. It's live and might be very disturbing to children under 8 and grandmothers over 60. I'm not exactly sure why they picked those ages, but it must have been a very extensive study, similar to that of the Lusitania investigation back in 1917. I don't know why I said that.
Well, apparently everyone inside had to be escorted to safety and then given different types of sugar donuts as a means to get them to stay in one place. Many of the customers and workers kept trying to wander off and babble to themselves about having the munchies. Therapists, artists, and acoustic musicians were dispatched to assist in their recovery. And What was I just saying?
Just tragic. That's tragic. Number 4. And it looks like I have the wrong version of the script here. Somebody can help me out. You guys. Okay, I got it. I'm good. So this just in, a new study by the New England Journal of Medicine has concluded that male masturbation over the age of 85 helps men continue to have sex even if no one else is present in the same room and they're merely staring into a large mirror, which is interesting. It's very interesting. As it turns out, when surveyed, most men over the age of 85 don't really care about masturbation anyways. The main concern continues to be the irregular bowel movements.
Fascinating medical developments, number 2. And now, let's hope God has something more interesting in store for us.
Welcome to I Knew You Were Going to Say That with Gary Ulla. I'm your host, Gary Ulla. You may have seen me predicting the last year's Grammys or the election for the District Reapportionment Director in Palm County, Florida. Today I'm here to help you. I am not just a world-renowned psychic, but a life coach, a philosopher, and I also cut hair. I am prognosticating we have a caller on the line.
Yes, Gary. Why do we have to wait 30 days for each full moon?
What am I, an astrophysicist? How do I know? I'm a psychic. I don't know of such things. As a psychic, let me ask you a question. I sense you have guilt over cheating on your wife, or is it on your taxes? I don't know. The signals are similar, but I sense that you feel very guilty about your own place. I know that I don't feel guilty because I'm Gary Ulla. Nothing ever gives me a reason to feel guilty because I live a clean life. I believe in clean living, and I've never really had the occasion to have to question myself. But you, sir, I don't know. You might have to re-examine your life.
Enchantée et bienvenue, Madame et Monsieur. I am Mistress Dominique from Quebec, French Canada. And welcome to my diary. Yes, my very own personal, engaging experiences. You see, mes amis, I know personally so many celebrities and very famous people. I help them with their problems. Some are financial, some psychological, and yes, even some are sexual. My specialty. I could be arrogant because yes, people are jealous of my expertise and experience. And because I am French Canadian and everyone wants to speak Français, oui, jaloux and envious. But I do not allow these petty resentments to worry me. I am a woman with compassion after all. I am Mistress Dominique, enchanting and mysterious. You will get no sympathy from me, Michael J. Fox. You know what I'm talking about, Miss Fox. But if you really want to hear some very juicy secrets, tune in to my Sirius XM radio talk show every other Tuesday at 3 a.m., 3 a.m. And as they said for James Bond, pour tes yeux seulement, tune in for the traduction, the translation. Enchanté et bonsoir.
Hey, good morning, Bob. I'm running a little bit behind. Give me a moment so I can review your resume again. Oh, wow. You have an impressive resume.
Thank you.
And this is all accurate?
Word for word.
I thought Bob Dylan wrote that. Bongo.
Excuse me?
I said bongo. Good morning. Sorry, my Maltese accent is probably not as sharp as yours, being that you are fluent.
Yes, it happens all the time.
Wow, you can operate a Univac 1 computer's vacuum tubes. You seem a little overqualified for what we're looking for, and this job might be a little slow for someone who knows how to operate a Harrier fighter jet. Why do you want to apply for the position of a 7-Eleven graveyard shift clerk?
Well, it's always been a dream of mine to work at 7-Eleven.
I'm a little surprised seeing that you once hosted the Emmys.
Oh, it was one of those years when Game of Thrones won everything. A lot of people tuned that out.
Okay. So, Bob, I usually like to begin the interview by asking the applicant to describe himself, to get an idea of who you are. But your resume speaks for itself. I mean, we've never had one of the original Cosby Show kids apply before. But I am still going to have to ask you some standard boilerplate questions so I can better assess what kind of worker you are. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start by telling me what you know of the position.
I assume it has something to do with preventing a team of highly organized freelance ninjas from kidnapping the president. Something like that? To tell you the truth, I'm not even sure what a 7-Eleven is.
You don't know what a 7-Eleven is? There are over 2,000 in this country alone.
Sorry, I don't eat out that much.
Although we have a variety of food options, we are not a restaurant, Bob. We're an industry leader in 24-hour convenience product distribution. Sure, you can work for an AM, PM, or a roadside truck stop along the interstate, but they are just tiny, dirty clouds compared to 7-Eleven's Mount Everest of greatness.
I'll make a note of it.
Did you not read the job description posted on the website you applied to?
I'm sorry, I didn't scroll down to the bottom yet.
It's actually on the mastheading at the top of the page.
Sorry, I ate a packet of dried Jello mix I had found on the freeway before I applied, so my judgment might have been clouded.
Okay. Bob, the job calls for those individuals steeped into the Calvinist tradition of the American work ethic and staff the exciting yet fulfilling 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift. Have you ever operated an 8-ton industrial cambio change washer before?
Yes.
And where did you train for that?
My grandma has one.
Have you ever worked in an office before?
Yes.
What kind of office?
Rectangular.
Bob, I'm going to tell you some fictional scenarios of encounters you might have. Okay. Say a man comes in looking suspicious and acting erratically. He approaches the counter and asks if we have living dinosaurs for sale. Then he just stands there with a blank expression on his face. How would you handle that?
But since I don't know how these, what do you call them, 7-Elevens work, I assume you use a Dewey Decimal System. So that's how I would initially approach it. That and Mace. I would first engage the customer acting erratically with a soothing atonal hum like this. Then I'd match his erratic behavior by throwing hot dog buns at him.
We don't encourage you destroying the inventory.
No, it's okay. I bring my own. And if that didn't work, I would call the cops and tell them a non-white person, possibly with Black Lives Matter, was looking askew at me from a passing car. That should make them respond faster.
Well, share with me a work situation you found yourself in which required you had to think outside the box.
Think outside the box?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a sexual thing? Are you hitting on me?
What? No. No. It's an expression like a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Politics make for strange bedfellas. Oh, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
Okay, man, I don't go that way.
Let me ask you another way. Has a problem ever happened to you at work which required you to do something you wouldn't normally have done?
I once had a job as a medical experiment guinea pig, and the medical student attaching the electrodes didn't properly secure the inputs. So in a semi-conscious state, I had to reattach it.
That's not quite what I meant. Let me ask you this. Have you established a conflict resolution pattern with an associate of whom there was misfire interfacing?
You mean problems with a coworker?
Did I just say that?
So one time my boss said he wanted me to stop telling the customers they were ugly and stupid for shopping there as they entered the door. I said, suck my love pump, and slammed his face into an air hockey table.
Oh.
And why did I do that? Because I believe in myself. That's what heroes do.
I see. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Bob?
In your job, Carla.
7-Eleven encourages our team members to express interest in potential
Look,
management
I'm
positions.
so good. You will want to pay me $47 an hour.
Well, that's almost 3 times what we offer. I don't even make that, and I would be your boss.
Oh, then you should be better at your job.
Is there anything you would like to add which you feel 7-Eleven should know about?
Yes. I enjoy eating live eels and will need the company to supply them for my meal breaks, which must last no less than 129 minutes, as my religion dictates, and which by law you must accommodate.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that tradition.
I'm a Lutheran Hindu transcendentalist.
Is that it?
I think so. Oh, one more thing. It's kind of insignificant, really not worth mentioning.
Oh, no, we want to hear it.
It's nothing, but I can't help stealing anything that's not nailed down and regularly lighting my workplaces on fire. I also have a bad habit of driving my car through the plate glass window of whatever job I'm working in.
I don't think you're even remotely qualified. And you scare me a little. But of the half dozen I have interviewed so far, I'd say you're the best applicant I've seen yet. So, welcome aboard. That's a nice lamp that you have there in the background. Is it IKEA? Where did you get that?
It's actually from a GUM, the Soviet department store that went out of business 30 years ago.
Oh, the bed is nice too. Seems comfy.
And now it's time for the Vegas Strip with Joey Vegas. Culture commentator Joey Vegas strips down the events of our time to the bare essentials, as only Joey can. Hey, Joey, if you spell Dallas backwards, you get salad. Does that mean something?
Well, it depends. Are you on a first date? And you're saying, you say, are we at, and then the second question would be, are we at a organized sports organizations event? And you say, it could be in Dallas. And you say, remember that time the Dallas Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers in a playoff game? And I'm like, yeah, I could probably remember that game there. And there was a game where Ricky Waters, it looked like he was making salad all over the Dallas Cowboys defense. And so with that, I would say, it looked like the great Ricky Waters was having a salad there right on the top of somebody's head and scored a touchdown. And he was even, I would say, it was a game they did miss the field goal, and the kicker did not get salad for that one.
And we're back. This just in, while you were absorbing those subversive marketing schemes, there have been several apparent sightings of what some in Springfield are calling UFOs, Bigfoots, or the reincarnation of Cousin Minnie, the fictional character in the movie of the same name, which is interesting. It's very interesting. At this time, we do not have any video footage, nor a local correspondent. Our own number 5 was on his way to bringing us the story when their vehicle was stopped at a local padlock by a Luigi von Paredes herd of goats crossing the road, a most unusual situation, but we'll let everyone know as soon as the goats have crossed the road and when number 5 gets to the scene.
This just in, number 2. A reminder to anyone who lives close to Jerry Murray's farm. He just got a fresh delivery of horse manure for his red beet cultivation. Jerry Murray has gotten the first place in the county fair 6 years in a row for his amazing beets. Jerry's beets are known in the next county over too. Of course, there's no beets like Jerry's beets. Right, number 2?
That's right, number 1. This just in, number 1. It has been reported that one Michael Renfro is now president and CEO of Dan Gumberg Enterprises, the very same Dan Gumberg Enterprises that helped put a man on the moon, that helped produce penicillin and steel radial tires, which is interesting. It is very interesting. We all know how important steel radial tires and the moon are, and we're prepared at any moment to take military and economic control of the world's resources by force, only if necessary, so that everybody here in the USA can eat more roughage. That's what this country really needs, is more roughage. Was that an op-ed that you just did?
Well, number two, I think it was. And now let's hear a few words from more people who love watching other people drink water.
Welcome to I Knew You Were Going to Say That with Gary Uller. I'm your host, Gary Uller. You may have seen me predicting last year's Grammys or the election for the District Reapportionment Director of Palm County, Florida. Today, I am here to help you. I am not just a rolled-around psychic, but a life coach, a philosopher, and I also got there. I am prognosticating. I have a caller on the line. Is the caller there?
Oh, yes, Gary. Is there an alternative universe? And if so, how can we communicate with them?
I am getting a visceral sensation. I am receiving a strong sense that that is the most ridiculous question I've ever heard. I'm a psychic, not a theoretical physicist. There's a difference, you know. Is it true? It is true that I can communicate on different planes of existence, but an alternate universe, this is the stuff of science fiction. I mean, I know about different planes of existence. The alternate universe, that's something you must have come out, taken out of, I don't know, a Christopher Nolan movie or something. It's not what I deal with. That's next caller. Is there another caller? There is another caller? What, how many segments do I get? Wait, I'm Gary Uller. You can't just cut me off like that. I have the two calls? What kind of program is this? You know, Newsmax was going to give me an exclusive contract because the Donald Trump Jr. was in some financial problems. So they said to me, Gary, you want to have a segment prime time? I said, of course I do. And they said, okay, well, you have to believe that unicorns are infiltrating the federal government. And I said, okay, I can believe that. To have a primetime show? Yes, I'll say whatever you want me to say.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. I just want to tell everyone about this unbelievable culinary experience. What the hell's his name again? Keith? Keith Everly? You mean like the Everly brothers? Whatever. Okay, so I'm on this international flight. Don't ask me where, classified information. But this guy sitting next to me tells me about this place in Erie, Pennsylvania. The greatest hot dogs he's ever had. No, sorry. The best dogs on the planet, he says. Of course, being Stevie D, I'm curious. This guy tells me about this place, Dobbins Dogs in Erie, PA. I gotta try it. So I make a special trip there. Don't ask me when, classified. And I find this guy, this Keith guy, and he serves me a Dobbins dog. Great name, too. I got his card. He caters events, weddings, graduations, corporate events, even bar mitzvahs. Who else can do that? I mean, this was the best hot dog I've ever had, and I've had a lot. You could put mustard, ketchup, relish, peppers, onions, ice cream, feta cheese. You could put anything you want on it. Just talk to the man, Keith. Keith? Whatever his name is. He'll take care of you. Trust me, you won't regret it. Dobbins Dogs, Erie, Pennsylvania. I'd make a special trip there just for the dogs. And the sunset on the lake, of course. Look, it's right here. Oh, I gotta break this baby in a little. God bless America.
Hey, how about a dog?
Who said that? God?
And now it's time for the Vegas Strip with Joey Vegas. Culture commentator Joey Vegas strips down the events of our times to their bare essentials, as only Joey can. Hey, Joey, I'm feeling ennui about my role in an industrial society. What do you recommend?
Well, if you are in industrial society, I say it might be a bit of maybe a bit of a hush money that you are sleeping on. You work all day and then you come home and you sleep on a pillow and it was been hushed up. And because you are in an industrial, the word industrial means, buildings and smog and things of that nature, you might be able to work on your computer these days. It seems like that has been the popular opinion, I guess, the popular speech, popular talk. But I would say if you can turn that industrial ambition that you have into something of the era and something of where you can get a a lot of money from doing it industrial ways and doing it on the internet, or maybe even if you could just jump in the water there in the San Francisco Bay, that might help you wash yourself of the industrial complex maybe you might have.
Welcome back. This month's New England Journal of Medicine reports that 35% fewer cases of venereal disease have been reported over the past year, which experts contribute to the pandemic lockdown nationwide. Our own number 6. I lost my spot on the teleprompter. Pedro, can you fix this, please? Someone? Stevie, someone? Yeah, I lowered it up. Okay, thank you. I'm good. Our own number 6, usually designated for sports, gardening, and honey badger dental care, has been at the publishing offices of the medical journal today, but somehow couldn't find anyone there to interview, and we didn't think their own opinion was worth listening to, so there is no story. On the other hand, number 1 has some interesting news on that termite problem out on Old Route 36.
That's right, number 2. This just in from Old Route 36 residents, none of whom wanted to be interviewed due to the fact that many of them are trying to sell their termite-infested dwellings. At this point, all we know is that our unnamed correspondent who attempted to get the story tonight is still reported missing. But let's not let that put a hamper on our cheery disposition. Up next, weather and international news by number 7 and 8, respectively.
And a really good video about fish eggs when we come back.
Over half the commercially usable fish in the ocean live in coastal waters.
And it looks like we've come to the conclusion of tonight's festivities. You know, I used to say that sleeping in until noon, eating ground eggshells and coffee grinds with mustard was a pleasure that only someone like me could enjoy. But now I see that even elected officials should have access to expensive cable networks. And this is tres importante. Little Red Riding Hood did not always shave her legs before visiting Grandma. Many Zulu warriors have commented that early rains in underground tunnels are not the only way to regurgitate unwanted food that your mother-in-law brings over. Now that we've established that, do not ride in a convertible with Howard F. Maitrey or Donovan the Cook. Thank you and good night.